Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. Chainlink has recently got institutional adoption, and the Greyscale Trust has actually added the support of Chainlink. This is going to see billions of dollars worth of institutional capital, as well as other capital from retail investors looking to gain spot exposure inside of the markets. This is going to be monumental for the price expansion of Chainlink, and the charts are reflecting that exact sentiment right now. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys join my Discord server of over 20,000 members and growing. Links are going to be provided for you in the description to sign up. Now, on top of that, if you're a new guy getting into these markets and you want to understand on how to be more profitable, I have a free ebook that's also linked into the description as well. And I've put a lot of information that I know is going to help you out tremendously because it's the information that helped me out the most inside of being profitable. So go check that out. Links are going to be provided for you in the description. And with all that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. So to start off this video, I want to talk about all of the recent hype and what's recently caused the price of Chainlink to rise over 20% on the daily. Now, for you guys that do not know, Grayscale is actually an institutional investment group where people can actually gain exposure with crypto. And they offer a number of different coins that you can actually invest in, a number of these different trusts, and they've recently just announced that they are going to be adding a Chainlink Trust. And of course, this was actually already known for the last couple months, since about the end of January, but now that they actually have the official release and now people can actually go about buying it, this is why we're seeing the rise in price. Grayscale launches Chainlink Filecoin BAT Trust as Bitcoin Trust is closed. Now, one of the important parts that I wanted to mention here, as Bitcoin Trust closed. So what that tells me is what Grayscale is doing is merely selling their Bitcoin. They're an institutional fund. The only way that they're actually going to be able to make their clientele base gains is if they're actually providing liquidity to sell into. And so if they just only have people buying more and more and more, they're going to accumulate too many Bitcoins. And when the cycle top actually comes out, they're just going to be stuck holding the bag and they're not going to be able to cash out. And so this is a very telltale sign, guys, that there's a sentiment shift that's taking place inside of the market. Now, generally speaking, if they were allowing the Bitcoin Trust to stay open, then they are speculating that there's going to be a lot more increase in price. The fact that they've closed the Bitcoin Trust and they're starting to open support for the altcoins shows that now we're in the institutional phase where they're taking profits on most of their coins, and it's actually going to be retail investors that are going to be driving the prices of altcoins. Now that they're closing off the Bitcoin Trust, what else are they going to invest in? Well, of course, they only have altcoins at that point. And so that's why I think we're going to see a big increase inside of those altcoins, and specifically Chainlink. And if we actually come over here to the Grayscale's website, you guys are actually going to see that they have it right here. I don't know exactly how this all works. I don't use Grayscale by any means. I just buy the crypto myself. But for you guys that want to get exposure, maybe you have a Roth, maybe you have something like that. I know people that actually invested into their Roth, and of course you can only put $6,000 a year. But anything that you can actually put into your Roth is going to be untaxed. And so if you guys can buy crypto right now while it's really cheap, you can hold that stuff long term. And if you're buying the ones that are going to stick around, like Bitcoin, like Chainlink, like Ethereum, you know, those ones are going to continue to be around here for a long time. And all of that's tax free. So, 10, 20 years from now, when you are ready to retire or whatever it is, you can just lock that up, and then all of that's tax free, and you're not going to have to worry about that. And so that's the benefits of actually using Grayscale or one of these trusts. Now let's actually dive into the chart of Chainlink and talk about the price and what I'm expecting long term. So to start this video off, I wanted to talk about Chainlink against the Bitcoin pair, because obviously we need to see Chainlink outperform Bitcoin, otherwise there's no point in even holding it, right? And I noticed a very interesting pattern that's actually forming inside of Chainlink, and I wanted to share this with you guys. Now, this is a chart that I've actually shared with you every single day for the last couple days, and that is this chart right here. This is the valuation of a market cycle. Now, I'm not going to go through and explain it, but I'm going to share with you guys where we're at inside of Chainlink. So, you guys see this little dotted line right here. This dotted line resembles this dotted line resembles the mean trend line, right? The mean, the average of which the price is traveling. Yes, we have these periods where the price peaks way above, gets very emotional, way overbought, and then we have a crash. But we always maintain this mean. And it's this trend line that is really the line drawn in the sand, right? This is where price always likes to hang out. Now, in this case, what we have happen after a major impulse is we rally, and then when we start to crash, the way that you know the end of the correction is once we've sold through that trend line, because that's what's known as despair. See that right here? When we've sold through the trend line, everybody's bearish, everybody's saying that it's going to go to new lows. It's the same thing that happened with the COVID crash, right? COVID crashed through the long-term trend line that Bitcoin had built for like 5 to 6 years, and everybody was bearish. And I made this chart and I told you guys, hey, this isn't bearish. This is what happens every single cycle. And it doesn't matter which cycle it is. It could be Bitcoin, it could be Ethereum, it could be, stock cycles. All of them are kind of the same. Yes, there's differences. Crypto's more emotional, but overall these make the same patterns. And what we can see here is this is the point of the bottom of the cycle, the despair. And then we go back up to return to the mean, and we do it all over again. We start over a new cycle. And what we can see here is literally that exact same chart against the Bitcoin pair. We had this mean trend line. We were grinding. We had the blow off top. We started crashing. We sold through the trend line and everybody was bearish. Everybody was saying Chainlink was dead. Oh man, the hype is gone. It's over. It's done. And then what happens? Well, we're just returning back to the mean. Now, even though we bounce back up and we're going back down again, if I drive it to the shorter time frames, I think you guys are going to be able to understand a little bit more of what I'm seeing here. Let's actually take a little bit of a bigger time frame. So what we can see here forming is a very clear set of impulse waves. This was wave 1, this was wave 3, and this was wave 5, right? I don't know why those are red. And then what we saw followed was your textbook example of an ABC. ABC. And so where we're at right now, we did have this impulse. We are at resistance, so, we could see a pullback. It's not for sure that this thing is bullish, but when I look at the market structure, I will say impulse waves followed by corrective down ABCs are generally speaking more bullish than anything else. And the fact is, if we look at this, not only is this an impulse, but the impulse is coming after we broke that trend line, returned to the mean, and now we're just getting ready to go back up. In my opinion, we will see the chart of Chainlink go back up, and we're going to continue to go up into this next cycle. And that's personally what I'm going to be watching out for. Because, when we trade these market cycles, it doesn't matter which pair it is. It could be an Ethereum pair. It could be pretty much anything. These are going to be profitable regardless. And so if we understand, what to look for inside of a trade, then we understand when it's going to be profitable. Now, of course, we never know exactly. Nobody's ever for sure about anything, and we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But all I can share with you guys is how the cycles line up, and what I can see right here is pretty much your textbook example of a market cycle. The only difference is this is a Bitcoin pair, and I do expect that we're going to start taking off from here. Now let's actually dive into the dollar pair and talk about some things that I see with that. Alrighty guys, so here we are taking a look at Chainlink against the dollar. Now this was the little pump that we saw here from the Grayscale. We have actually sold off a little bit from that, as you guys can see here. But really what I'm looking for, I just want to continue to see us going up. If we start selling below this support, then obviously I'm expecting a lower low, because that would look something more along the lines of a bigger ABC correction. It's still on the table. I'm definitely not writing this off. As much as I don't want to see that happen, it definitely could happen. And if it did happen, I would be expecting us to drop back down to about $17. Now, this type of buyback and this type of news that's coming out, generally speaking, that's a perfect narrative to fuel a bull rally. And so that's why I'm not necessarily writing off the potential that we're just going to keep going up. In fact, I think it's more likely that we're going to keep going up from here. I think it's less likely that this is a bigger ABC and that we're going to go much lower. Although it is possible, keep in mind. Now, if that's the case and we do end up going lower, just do your part on buying, guys. There's more bullish sentiment than ever before. Now that the Bitcoin Trusters closed, that's a perfect indication that everybody's going to be tunneling into altcoins, because that's obviously the only thing that's left to invest in. Grayscale was really that first Bitcoin Trust to open and accept clients, and it started on very early. And so now that they've actually got to this point where they're closing off their Bitcoin Trust, I'm expecting to see a lot of that money flood into Chainlink, and not just Chainlink, but all of the other altcoins in general. And so with us looking at this, I love this chart. I freaking love the chart of Chainlink. And you guys know this. I've been following the chart of Chainlink for a long time. It just looks so good. I love the very obvious type of accumulation structure that we see here. Big rounded structure as we continue to go more and more parabolic, right? And I'm not even going to be able to draw it right unless I get on the log scale. Wow. So let's actually take this to a log chart so that we can actually visualize what the crap's going on. So honestly, this is just pretty much the same type of stuff that we've been seeing, guys. Just steady accumulation up this parabolic trend. And we are getting more and more parabolic. And this is very obvious to tell that there is no blow off top yet. We haven't seen any type of blow off top. We go through these quick pumps, corrections, pumps, corrections, pumps, corrections, and we haven't had anything like that up to this point. Now, I would expect that at this point we do start to see a bigger push on the upside. I don't know how high that's going to go, but I've been pointing out $100 for a little while now. And even though this impulse has taken a lot longer than I initially expected, I thought that once we left this range here, it was going to start pumping a lot more like we saw here. But that wasn't the case, and that's fine. And what's actually happening is a lot more of this type of action. So right here, see this type of action here? I call it stitching. It's called stitching, where the prices don't really move. They're just kind of really tight, back and forth, and then all of a sudden they pump, right? And that's what's called stitching. This, we see it there, we see it here, we see it here, and what's interesting is we still even see it right here. This entire move is all just stitching, right? And we can see that. We have yet to have any type of significant push on the upside, which is why I'm very skeptical that we're going to just start dumping on the downside. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally. When I look at it on the log scale, to me it just looks like it's still accumulating. It has a lot more accumulation still to go before we see any type of major drop. Of course, I could be wrong, but based off of the current market structure, it just doesn't look too bearish to me, and that's why I haven't been too big on trying to sell. You know, for me, I'm waiting for those big gains, guys, and I have yet to see any type of market structure that just looks too parabolic for me to want to stomach and hold any longer. And so with Chainlink, guys, just watch out for those little things. Watch out for this parabolic curve, and what's interesting, guys, is when we actually zoom it out and take it off log scale, you know, it looks like it still has a lot more upside to go against on the log scale, but when we look at it like this, it just puts it into perspective how much it's already gone up. Now, what Chainlink reminds me of is if we actually come over here and we go to XMR. Let's see if we can find the Poloniex chart. So here we have the old school Poloniex chart, right? And it's always reminded me a lot of XMR. I've always felt like it was pretty much the same type of accumulation structure that we see. You know, added to exchanges, fall to new lows. In this case, Chainlink didn't fall to new lows, but still, same type of structure. We just kind of go sideways for a long time. And then when we actually start to go parabolic, it looks pretty similar. I mean, XMR had this first big pump, retested the previous all-time high, and then kept going up. Chainlink kind of did the same thing. The only difference was it kind of chopped around here on this all-time high for a lot longer. Whereas XMR just kind of just kept going up with no hesitation. But it's still pretty much the same type of market structure, right? Same type of cycle. I mean, we just keep going more and more parabolic. And that's kind of what I'm expecting to see continue to play out with Chainlink. The only difference here is Chainlink's here in about March of 2021. If the same time scale based off of XMR is going to be March of 2017, which is going to be here. So where we're at right now, based off the last cycle, is right here. So with that in mind, this is what happened over the course of that year for XMR. You know, we still had a ton of upward growth. In fact, only about half the cycle had pumped at that point, and we went up a lot more from there. And I am expecting to see the same type of outcome here. You know, we still have a lot of room left to go inside of this cycle. I've been calling for the end of the year for a long time. I've been calling for that, you know, for a year and a half plus at this point. And, you know, the more time that goes on, the more confident I am with that thesis. I see a lot of traders switching up their trading plans, which is the quickest way to get destroyed, because at that point, you know, there's a simple saying that I like to use. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And it's the same way with having a trading plan. If you don't have a trading plan in place and you go out and invest into a market, it's pretty much the same way. You're just lost in open space and you're never going to make money. Well, I shouldn't say you never make money, but Long term, I don't think you'll ever be profitable. You might make money here and there, but you're going to lose it all back because you don't have a trading plan. And this is the same type of thought process for the people I see switching up on their analysis. Now, not everybody switched up on their analysis. Some of the traders have had a couple theses, and then they've decided to stick with one. And, you know, as long as they stick with that, that's cool. And you guys should think of the same thing. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are calling for a summer sell-off. And not just a sell-off, but a cycle top in the summer. I personally don't think that that's on par with what we're seeing. A lot of people are saying that we're front-running this cycle, when in actuality, we're not so much. We're pretty much on par with the last cycle, identically. A lot of people are calling for, you know, a lengthening cycle. And to be honest, you know, I see the thesis for that. I actually think that that's more accurate than saying that the cycle is going to top in the summer. But I still disagree with that. I don't think we're quite there yet. I still think that this cycle is going to be very parabolic. There's going to be that 80% crash that we see at the end. Altcoins will crash more. Some altcoins will die. And then I think that the next cycle is where we will start to see that come to fruition, long-term trends that just steadily increase over time. We'll have corrections, but it's not going to be nearly to the equivalent of what we see in the mania and the bubble phases right now. So anyways, guys, this is my thoughts and perspective. Just wanted to share with you guys what I'm seeing with Chainlink. Been a little while since I made an update with this. Had a chart that I wanted to share with you guys that I felt was very valuable. Now that Greyscale is adding the Chainlink Trust, where people can actually go about and investing into those, I'm expecting that we're going to see a pretty decent increase coming for Chainlink from here. And not just Chainlink, but the rest of the market entirely. Now, guys, if you've waited this long and you want to actually understand how to sign up for my video course in Signals, inside of my group, I offer 2 different groups. I offer the video course, which is 20 educational videos that are going to teach you guys technical analysis, all the drawing of charts, all of my technical resources. I'm going to teach you guys those exact skills inside of that video course. Now, on top of that, I also offer the signals, and the signals are simply the ability to copy both of my portfolios and every trade that I take. I have 2 portfolios, one long-term, one short-term. I give you guys access to both of those so you can copy and follow along, and then I also give you access to every other trade that I take over the cycle. Whether it's some analysis, whether it's an update, whether it's an actual signal, all of that gets posted into the signals for you guys to see and just learn from. And so if you guys are interested in that, links are going to be provided for you in the description to sign up. You guys can purchase them together or separate. If you can only pick one, I always recommend going with the signals first, because obviously that's the way to make the money. We've had so many huge gains inside of that Discord. You know, you really are missing out by not joining in there, because yeah, it's $2,000 to join the signals, but that's lifetime access for as long as I'm running the channel. Even in the bear market, when I start moving towards stocks and other things like that, you guys are still going to be getting access to all of that stuff. And so it's a very good deal. It doesn't take very long to come in and make that $2,000 back. And so I think you guys should check it out. Links are going to be provided for you in the description. Now, on top of that, if you don't want to sign up for any of my VIP stuff, I do have a free ebook that's linked in the description as well. And that's not going to cost you anything, but I know that it's got a ton of information that really is the most important information for me, that took me from becoming unprofitable, well, took me from being unprofitable to becoming profitable. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for the support. Thank you all so much for watching this video. And with all that being said, guys, I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.